thewellnesscouch.com, streaming wellness into your lives. This is Up for a Chat with Cyndi O'Meara, Carren Smith, and Kim Morrison.
Here we are, up for a chat about the hottest topics that are important to you, inspiring you to awaken the change within. I'm Carren Smith.
I'm Kim Morrison.
And I'm Cyndi O'Meara.
And today, we're talking about butt. That's right, we're talking about your butt. Your butt and your boobs. I think that's really what it's about.
And face.
And your nose and your face.
And your face, yeah.
And your calves, carb muscles. Yeah, we could do carb muscles as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Chests and backs and arms. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so it's all about enhancements, body enhancements. Have you had a boob job? Have you? Or are you flirting with a boob job? So we thought that we would have a conversation about that because I'm going to start. Can I?
Go for it.
So I was watching yesterday, I just walked past the telly and I saw this woman in America. It was on one of those doctor shows and she wanted to, enhance her booty. She wanted to be a bit more bootylicious. So she'd gone to this place that did these injections rather than a plastic surgeon that put in implants. And this place had guaranteed that these injections work and they enhance the butt or they enhance whatever area it was because it was like a kind of a filler. But what had actually happened is she'd been injected in 5 different places in her bum, and the content of the injections had actually pooled instead of spreading. So it had pooled in one particular location and actually burnt massive big holes in her bum. So the picture that they showed was disgusting, but she had these huge big holes that had been burnt into her bum. They would have been the size of, let's say, the diameter of perhaps a mandarin, and then the depth, I don't know, because they had them stuffed with gauze. And there were 5 of them all around her bum and her hips, and the doctors on the show were actually talking about what had gone severely wrong. And they were saying, if you want to have any part of your body enhanced, go to a proper plastic surgeon and get implants. Don't get injections that are full of fillers because they don't do the same job. And then 2 weeks...
Oh, God, it freaks me out.
Oh, tell me about it. 2 weeks earlier, I'd been watching a show on Foxtel, and it was specifically on people who were obsessed with getting plastic surgery. And there was these 3 people. One was obsessed with looking like Barbie. So she actually did exercises to empty her brain. She did these exercises to make her an airhead because she really just wanted to be as plastic as she possibly could. So she had everything on her body was plastic. Everything was enhanced. Her hair was synthetic. Her boobs were enhanced. Her legs, her arms, her stomach, everything. She had something like 28 different surgeries just on her face to make her face look like Barbie, and it looked nothing like Barbie. Then there was another fellow who had done his arms, his pecs, his calves, his stomach, his chest, his face, and his aim was to look like Ken. And he looked nothing like Ken. The man looked nothing like Ken. He looked like a very shiny version of the Italian mafia and very thin. And then there was another woman who wants to look like a cat. And there's one woman who's really quite, mature that I think we've all probably seen. She's dubbed as the cat woman. But there's another woman, and she is, what was she? She was 27. And she's doing everything to make herself look like her cat. So she's had whiskers implanted in her cheeks. And she's had her eyes lifted. So
Please tell me this isn't true.
No, sweet pea. It's so true. It's frightening. She's had her eyes lifted to look like a cat. She's had her hair pulled back off her face to make her forehead broader. And she's made her body and she's had her back enhanced so that she gets a greater arch in her back. And she's obviously got the bigger bum, and she wears this plug-in tail. Really, really. I mean, those are the extremes. Have you seen the guy who's had himself done up like a lizard? He's had his tongue split down the middle.
Kazza, what do you watch? What are you doing late at night?
I know, it's tragic. It's tragic.
I mean, seriously.
I know. He's had his tongue split in half, and so that his tongue moves like a lizard. And he's got all of these metal pieces implanted underneath the surface of his skin to make his skin look like a lizard, so it's all noduly. And it's all over his face, and he's had his face all tattooed over on top of that to make it scaly.
Okay, I think I'm looking at the photo of that. I decided to go to plastic surgery images, and I have him. I have
the lizard man.
Actually, is it a girl? Gosh.
Oh, there's a girl.
What I don't understand is that I understand if the plastic surgery, if something has gone wrong, so you have a cleft palate when you are born, or you've been in a horrible accident, or there's been a fire, or I don't know, something like that. I understand it.
Yeah.
But to do the extremes that you're talking about, Carren, and I'm asking you.
Oh, right.
Actually, I'm asking both of you. Well, because I have no concept of why we need to do this, but then I think, okay, well, I was given a good body. I'm not unfortunate looking.
Unfortunate looking.
I'm not unfortunate looking. I was given a great.
You've got great boobs.
I do.
Great butt, great legs. Oh, you're just one of those women that we all just look at and go, oh, clearly she's had work.
And I want to be her when I grow up.
Yeah.
But I can't deny that there are people out there that I know I have many friends that have had breast augmentation, many friends. But did it change them? I don't know. I don't know if it changed them as themselves, or whether it was just what they did for themselves. Are we doing it for ourselves? Are we doing it for other people? Why are we doing it?
Well, they often look. When we wrote our second book about face, it was all, we went to a couple of plastic surgeons and different cosmetic appearance doctors, and it was fascinating, actually. So this one doctor in Auckland, she said they usually ask two questions. If you're thinking of surgery or wanting surgery, they'll ask you two questions, and the first question is, first of all, is to actually see that what you're asking for is possible. So like what you're saying, Kaz, at the beginning, I want to look like Barbie. I mean, is it really possible? And of course, there's a lot of, some people want, I've known people, well, look at Michael Jackson, had plastic surgery to look like his idol, Donna Ross, was it?
Diana Ross.
Diana Ross,
really?
yeah.
Is that why he did it?
Yeah, he wanted her nose. He wanted to look like Diana Ross more, apparently. So the question that they first ask is, first and foremost, is your request doable? And then I remember her saying that the second reason was actually it was to determine more whether or not they needed surgery or a psychotherapist. And I say that with hand on heart, but a lot of the time people have surgery in order to fix their mental, emotional, maybe even spiritual dilemmas or crises that they're in. And a lot of the time they do that, and it's a bit like a tattoo. They get one and then they want another one, or they find that they want to fix nearly everything that's on them. So I thought it was quite an interesting point that she brought up, because for a lot, I know, for instance, one lady, a friend of my mother's years ago, spent $50,000 having a facelift. Now, I don't know if that's the price of what they are or what that's about, but apparently that's what she spent, and I don't know if that included her travel to go to wherever it was she had to do it. But the terrible thing is, I didn't notice a difference. So she spent $50,000, and I didn't really notice. I think a few of the lines looked a bit less, I guess, but I reckon a holiday would have done that for me. So sometimes I don't know. I really don't understand it. Then you got to understand from a point of view of genes. So some people that are born with a nose, perhaps that's like a hook nose or a very large nose, and I really do understand that rhinoplasty is an answer for them to change their nose or to create them, and if they feel better for it and they love the fact that they've spent the money to do that, then I actually don't see a problem in doing that. Do you?
You know, I think...
I'm... So you go, Carren.
No. You go, Cyndi. No, I've spoken enough on this one.
Oh, no. Like, I just remember a beautiful young girl in my school, and this is high school. She was stunning. She had lovely long blonde hair. She had the most sweetest face, the most cutest figure, but she had a hook nose on her like there was no tomorrow. And
just the way you say that, Cyndi.
No, it was unbelievable. She was absolutely gorgeous in every way. And even, after a while you didn't notice her nose, but when you first saw her, that's what you'd notice. And I know that after she finished high school, she had her nose done. And I understand that. I actually understand her having her nose done. So there are times when you look at it like that, Kim, and you do see a reason behind that.
Yeah, totally.
But some of the images that I'm looking at right now, like lips, what is this with these luba lips that people keep doing?
I don't know. But I tell you what's gorgeous is I went into a Lorna Jane shop. I would have been a couple of years ago. I was with my daughter. I think I might have even mentioned this on the podcast at some point. I don't know. But we went in and this woman, similar age to myself, was standing there, and she was in her beautiful Lorna Jane gear, and she looked so gorgeous. And I just looked, and I couldn't help but look at her chest, and I thought, wow, I'd love it I wonder if that bra would do the same for me. So I said to her, what bra have you got on? She took me into the change room. She goes, honey, the bra helps, but seriously, 10 grand is all it cost, and I am so proud of it. And apparently her husband had left her a few years before that for someone else, and as a part of getting over it and getting on with her life, not to get back at him, she decided for herself this was something that she'd always felt a little bit inadequate about, and so she decided to go and have a breast augmentation. And I have to be honest with you, they looked amazing. So I was then starting this whole conversation with her to the point where she's now in the dressing room with Taylor and I, and she's let us hold them, feel them, so just to see how natural they were. And then I started cracking up at myself going, look at us, we're in the change room with a complete stranger, and we're, for want of a better word, groping her. So, but I was so flabbergasted at how awesome they were and how amazing they felt that she even gave me the name of the surgeon. And then I said to her, you ought to be getting a commission on this, because I bet you're telling, we're not the only ones you've told. And she said, no. She said, what was the greatest joy for her, though, is a couple of, I don't know, however many months or years later it was, she was standing there and her husband came up to her and just said how amazing she was looking. And she just turned around and she went, mistake, big mistake.
Oh, go the pretty woman line.
I just love the way she did the pretty woman thing. And I don't know, there was just a part of me that kind of went, you know what, go girl. You know, you did it all for you and it was all about you. Maybe there was a little bit of getting back at the ex, but I don't know. It just made me not judge why women do that, you know. Yeah. And she was so happy and so proud of them and so proud to tell everybody that who asked that they weren't real. So I don't know.
I have a girlfriend of mine who same age as me, and she always felt like her boobs were just, she used to call them empty socks. And she hadn't had kids. And she always used to say, oh, no, I've just got empty socks. It's really embarrassing when I get in my cozies and stuff. And one afternoon, she walked in on me, and, you know, people never, ever do this, but she walked in on me when I was in the bathroom. She didn't realise that I was in there, and, of course, I was butt naked. And, see, that never happens in my world, where somebody would walk in on me and I'm butt naked. You know what I'm saying? Anyway,
yeah,
so
just listeners need to know that I don't know if we've ever seen Kaz naked, have we?
No, and the day's never coming. Let us just say that. It's never happening.
Our princess always gets a separate room, whereas Cyndi and I will be standing there stark naked, talking, we're having a conversation while we're doing our business, getting together. Oh, it's so normal.
It's so not. Do you two stand there butt naked talking and doing stuff?
Mm-hmm. Putting our makeup on.
With no clothes on.
Drying our hair. Yeah.
So uncivilized.
Going to the loo.
You do not go, oh, you don't.
I knew I had to drop that one in.
You don't, really, do you?
It's a normal part of life, darling.
Oh, no, I just don't know who you are anymore.
We need to do a road trip in a camper van with you. I'd really like to see that.
I'd rather die. I'd run behind it.
Do carry on about coming in stark naked. Yeah, carry on.
Well, see, I too have been blessed with great bazunkas. And she came in and she said, oh, my God. She said, look at your bazunkas. And I went, yeah, get out, because that's just so embarrassment. And then after, it was probably about 5, maybe 7 years later, she went and got a boob job, but she didn't tell anybody. And she never got them out. She never flaunted them. She just went to a nice little C cup. And I remember she came over and she got in our swimming pool. She put her cozies on and I went, oh, my God. And she'd had them for 3 years before I even knew. And I said to her, right, we had to do a comparison. So this was the first time that I actually got my boobs out voluntarily. And we did a comparison and, oh, my goodness, her bazunkas looked fabulous.
Yeah.
And she said it didn't change who she was, but she thought that it would. She thought that it would make her more confident, more outgoing, and love herself more. But she said it didn't actually do that. But she said it did make her feel more comfortable in the context of she wasn't more confident, but she was less insecure, if that makes sense. So when she went to the beach, she wasn't worrying about her body and her boobs like she was before. But she didn't have this whole renewed sense of confidence that she could go and jump out of a plane or something. She said it just made her not worry about what she looked like. And I thought that was a really interesting way of putting it. And I did an interview with a guy that you know, Cyndi, here on the Sunshine Coast, Dr. Mark McGovern.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, he's awesome.
He's beautiful.
Yeah.
He is beautiful. What an amazing man. And I did a show with him on Karen's Couch about boob jobs. And I really wanted to talk to him about what his view was, like why he thought women got breast augmentations done. And he had such a beautiful, not scientific, but a beautiful, empathetic way of explaining that women do it because it's important for women to feel like a woman. And when they've had children and their bodies have changed or their boobs have changed, they kind of lose that sense of sensuality and that sense of self, because a lot of our identity is in our ability to be appealing. And the way that he explained that, I thought was very, very respectful and very gracious, I thought, to women and the decisions that we make. But he was very adamant that if somebody's just coming in because they want to, go on a Barbie doll trip, then no, there's no way that they get, they get the service.
Okay, so I just want to, sorry, Cyndi.
Go, Kim.
I'm just sort of interested that the rise of males having plastic surgery, and do you want to know what, like, some of the top plastic surgery procedures that are occurring for men is liposuction, rhinoplasty, breast tissue removal, air shaping enhancements, and here's a good one, moustache surgery. So let's just have a little look at that one, shall we? So apparently,
You're hilarious.
So apparently, a lot of men are out there squeezing, grunting, and pushing with all their might, but they cannot manage a Tom Selleck kind of hair facial thing. So they're actually doing surgery now that takes hair from other parts of the body and puts it across their moustache, because some men apparently fail to grow hair that well in that area. Did you know that?
Well, I'd like to know where they're taking their hair from. Just saying. So
if it's curly, you're going to be really...
Oh, that's just offensive. Oh, so your mouth turns into a bum. Oh, no.
So it says that are you ready for this?
Oh,
through a process
stop
called
it.
follicular unit extraction, which is a fancy way of saying we pull your goddamned hair out. Dense groups of hair are harvested from other areas of the body and surgically crammed into the upper lip.
Oh.
It is essentially the same as scalp implants, only confined entirely to the space between your mouth and nose.
Wow.
It doesn't say where it comes from, but I'm just imagining might come from places we may not need to talk about.
Well, it might come from the back of the head.
I thought you were going to say the back of their butt.
No, because it's too curly down there. But then if they've got curly hair, then they're going to have a problem. So I don't know. That is just so, okay. You know what? I think there is plastic surgery that, as Mark McGovern, beautiful Dr. Mark McGovern, who is a leading plastic surgeon here on the Sunshine Coast, who worked on my daughter. So my daughter's had plastic surgery. So
her boobs, her butt, she's had, oh my God, she's got the best triceps. Amazing. And talk about lips.
Her plastic surgery was a result of a surf fin between her eyes, a huge surf fin between her eyes. So she went to, she had a surf fin go hit her in the head as she was surfing, as she's my surfing girl, and went to emergency, and they sewed her up, and the sewing up was just disastrous. The scar extended out. It was like this thing on her face that she didn't really like. And so we decided to go to Mark McGovern and see if he could improve it. And he just looked at it and he said, most definitely, I can make that look as though it's not even there. So, we chose to go to Mark and have this done. And I must admit, it is you don't even know it's there anymore. He did such a brilliant job of what emergency had not done a very good job of. And I don't know why emergency didn't see a young girl, even an old girl, and go, hey, you know what? This needs plastic surgery. We should get somebody in. They didn't even give her the choice, of what we could do. And I understand plastic surgery is more expensive, but people spend that money, whether they have it or not. They'll spend it, especially if it's going to make a difference, especially with an injury. And I feel that plastic surgery for these reasons, or for breast augmentation because it makes them feel like a woman, or all of these things, I don't see that as a huge problem. What I see as a huge problem is when they become addicted to their plastic surgery, and when they go past the point of no return. I don't get that, like the breasts that are so big they can't haul them in a bra, or can't, like I'm seeing some images here where women have got their breasts so big that you could not put a dress on with it. Do you know what I mean? Why do the people, I guess I'm asking the question, why do they go to these extremes? What is the point of these extremes? Like, to get your breasts done, or get a mustache on, or,
to be noticed.
To be noticed.
It must be to be noticed. I mean, I'm very proud of mine. Very worn, very rather depleted looking chest, because it's mine, and I thankfully have not been cursed so far, or I shouldn't say cursed, but been faced with the dread of some sort of disease with my chest. So even though mine are depleted and probably very much like your friend's socks, empty socks, I kind of feel that at least they're mine, and from a real serious point of view, I really value the fact that they're mine and that I haven't had to have any surgery. And I really feel for women out there that have had to have something, and I think that's where, Cyndi, you're alluding to, that the benefits of plastic surgery for women that have had to endure something like that is phenomenal. And I think that the stuff that these doctors can do is actually breathtaking, and the likes of Mark and those that do it for those reasons and are there to help women and other people, I think is highly plausible. What I want to ask you both is, so what's your thoughts then around things like Botox, getting that injected every 3 months, or collagen injections? What's your thoughts around that?
Cyndi, you go first.
Well, I know that the collagen and the Botox work beautifully because I've seen what it can do. I have a very good friend who does it, and her skin is stunning. She's only probably, I guess, not quite in her 50s, but it makes a real difference. But what's interesting is that every morning I get something about the medical world and the health world. And this came in this morning, and it's FDA warns, so this is in the US, but FDA warns of counterfeit Botox in the United States. A counterfeit version of the Botox allergen has been found in the United States and have reached physicians' offices and medical clinics nationwide. So this isn't just some backyard job. They've got a counterfeit Botox. Now, I just want to know how you make a counterfeit Botox. I don't know
how. How do you do that?
I have no idea. So it's just warning people of it and the possible problems that could happen if you do it. But think about Botox. Botox is a botulism, which causes paralysis. That's what it's all about. So, and we're injecting it into our skin. So, I'm very much a naturalist and a purist, and I've got lines, and I'm in my 50s now. I'm 55, and even though I look at myself sometimes and I go, oh, it'd be nice. You do the pull up, you get to your face and you just get to the ears and you just do a slight pull up and you go, oh my gosh, that looks quite good. But you know what? I've earned these lines. I've earned my droopy boobs. I've breastfed 3 beautiful children.
Let's stay out at night drinking. Have we discussed this? Let's talk about that.
Yes.
Carol.
And I work hard at looking after myself. I put all the hard yards in. I eat the right food. I sleep the best I can. So I've done all the work to get to that point. But there is a lot of people that didn't know that they could do the right thing by themselves and still have a body that looks good at 55 or and then you've got to look at them and they're looking at themselves through the ravages of time and wanting to have that. And it is their choice. But I just want to know that they know that they're doing it with the full understanding of the consequences of it. And that's with the Botox and the, where they take the fat from, where they take the fat from your bum and put it somewhere else. I know that this is all happening. But I just think if you go into it with a full understanding and full knowledge of what you're doing, and you have researched it and you've researched your surgeon or researched the person that's putting the Botox in or whatever they're doing to you, and that you know exactly the consequences of your action, and that if they botch it up, then you knew that was a possibility that this may happen, then I guess it's your choice. It's your wanting to do that. But for me, I just find this, hard because unless it's because you've had a disease or an accident or something like that, I don't know. I just feel that we've become such a society where image is everything and who we are as human beings are nothing. And we look for outside stimulation of who we are as human beings, and rather than looking at our internals to help us through this. So one of the things that I tried to teach my children was that it's more important what comes from the inside than what's there on the outside. And it's more important that we understand that our health and our ability to do things should be coming from the inside, not from a little white pill or a bit of Botox or some plastic surgery to enhance your lips because you think your lips are too little. I just think this is the whole tragedy of this plastic surgery, is that we believe that we are not who we are inside, but more what we are on the outside. Does that?
Totally.
And I just think it's a real mark on society, on what we've done
and what we value. There was an article many moons ago that I remember reading, and I've got no idea where it is or who wrote it, but it was all about good-looking people get the jobs first.
Yeah,
and it was something that I looked at and I thought, is that true? You know, is that something that's a fact? Is that a reality? And I think that there's a part of society that does value the way that people look. And so in order to measure up to that and be loved and accepted, because ultimately that's what we're all wanting, you know, it's quite sad. I'm gonna confess to all that are listening that
it was you that had the bum job.
It was my bum.
It's all right. We'll come and rub it. We'll look after you.
Really?
We'll get you naked and we'll look after you, baby. Don't you worry.
Stop. I really don't need a bigger bum. So you'll always know that that's never going to be me.
Honey, you're going to have to stay so healthy. There's no way you're going to cope in a nursing home with everyone wiping your bottom, are you?
Oh, good heavens. Is that what happens? Oh, no. How
She'll put herself out to pasture before that happens.
Oh, absolutely.
Carry on.
But I did get Botox, and I got Botox a couple of times. I think 3 times or 4 times when I was on the Gold Coast. I got it done down there. And it worked. There was no, there were no hiccups. There were no problems. That apparently the face can droop from it because it paralyzes the muscles to such an extent if the person who's doing the injecting isn't doing a really good job. So that was always quite terrifying. But with that danger,
has two things. Can't believe it.
Yeah.
And secondly, the connection and the relevance to the Gold Coast is quite apt.
I know. And but isn't it? Because the Gold Coast is the glitter strip here, and it's all about how everybody looks. And everybody that I know, that not everybody that I know, I shouldn't say that because that's actually not true. But there are a lot of people that I know down on the Gold Coast who are working in high flying roles on the Goldie that, boobs, lips, eyes, cheeks, they've had ribs removed, they've had liposuction because they want to have a smaller waist. So they get the bottom rib taken out. And then they have liposuction done on the stomach and the back, and it brings it all in really tight, like the whole, like how little Dolly Parton is. They get that look.
Oh, is that what I've got to do?
Well,
I've got to get the rib out and have liposuction because I have no waist. I'm straight up and down. That's how you do it.
That's how you do it, sweet. That's how you do it.
Oh, okay. Or I lose the belly fat.
Honey, even without the belly fat, you and I don't have a waist.
Yeah, we've got that figure, don't we?
Oh,
yeah.
Bless your little hearts.
So did it hurt? What? Like?
Oh my God! You've got no idea the pain.
Oh, it does hurt.
Really?
Oh.
Insane pain. Insane pain. You try getting injections into that very thin skin around your eyes and oh my God, it's painful. So I used to, at the first time, I didn't know what to expect. Nearly died on the chair, let me say. Nearly died. And then the second time I went, I took, ice packs that you put in your esky.
Yeah.
I took those and sat with those on my face. But then, of course, I was worried about what that would do to my skin because I've got very good skin. I didn't want to actually, cause broken capillaries on my skin. So I didn't do that again.
Keep going.
Pain.
You stop laughing at me.
Beauty is pain. Beauty is pain. We've always said this, Kimmy, haven't we? Beauty is pain.
Oh,
Carren.
Little princess. Keep going. This is brilliant.
So does it straighten out the lines? Like,
Yes.
Like my girlfriend that I was telling you about, she lives on the Gold Coast.
Did we know you?
No, God, no. This is like, oh, wow, this is 10 years ago.
Oh, I just wanted to know if I'd noticed. I mean, for all that pain, you'd want someone to notice, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yes, true. Yeah.
Carry on. What else did you do?
Well, then I got it done 4 times because I remember them very clearly. And then the next time I went and they had this numbing cream, which they failed to tell me about on the first 2 occasions. So I put the numbing cream on and I looked like I was like an Indian going to war because I packed it on that thick. And I had to arrive an hour early and sit with it for an hour in the waiting room as people were coming in and going out. And I'm sitting there with this packed on thick, like, oh my God, it was so thick. And then when I went in and the person saw me that was doing the injection, she looked at it and she said, for goodness sake, she said, why have you got this on so thick? And I said, because I don't like pain. And she said, well, did you know that it works better when it's on thin? Oh, I just could have thrown myself off the chair then. So, of course, she does the injection and it freaking hurt because I'd had it on so thick. It wasn't working. You were supposed to put just a very thin veil on rather than this great thick war paint. So, of course, the third time, unbelievable pain, agony because I got my frown line done as well. Stop it, because that went down my nose. Oh, and you can feel it. Oh, it's dreadful.
Can you raise your eyebrows? Like, you always say that when people have had Botox, they can't raise their eyebrows. Is that true?
Well, okay, are you ready? So if you get your forehead done, because people don't like the wrinkles on their forehead from their expression lines, and that I just think is dreadful. But if you get your forehead done, that's when you can't raise your eyebrows. But and your forehead gets that real shiny look to it. But if you get your frown line done, all it means is that you don't frown and you can't actually tell somebody that you're angry and look like you mean it. So, of course, I only ever got that done once because I thought, well, no, Matthew must know when I'm angry.
Oh, Carren.
But I have to say, there was I was going to say altruistic, but that's not the right word. I felt that the stress that I had been under from the bombing and from what I'd gone through with Greg, I felt that had prematurely aged me. And when I looked at the wrinkles that were funneling down my face when I smiled, it made me not like what I looked at. And that's what took me to get Botox, because I thought it's the stress of what I've been through, because my hair is also pure white. If I don't have my hair coloured, on one side my hair is pure white and on the other side it's a mousy grey. It's not nice.
That's amazing. Yeah, see, we all colour our hair, don't we? We all. Yeah. So that's all part of it, isn't it?
Yeah. So it was that combination of getting the hair right and then getting the face right. But, now I'm not so bad with it, I'm not, I kind of like, whatevs.
But you know what, I think when you have been in a stressful situation, because I remember after my mum and sister passed, in that very short period of time, I looked at myself and I looked like I'd aged a decade. Mm. But I did, but I feel like now. Oh, don't you love her? But I look now and I feel like I don't have that same look that you have when you're stressed, because it's huge. Well, I think I've improved. Well, you know what? I'm happy with what I see. I love it. I don't see that stressed look and that. I aged. But I look now and I go, you know what? I am who I am. And, if there's a misty look on the mirror, it's a wonderful look.
I love it when the mirror's foggy. Oh, it's so good. It's kind of like that soft lens when they put Vaseline on the lens on the movies. When you're watching The Bold and the Beautiful? Yeah, nice.
Where you got your inspiration for your Botox, wasn't it?
Well, as a matter of fact, yes, it was through Taylor and Brooke. Yeah.
Oh, God, here we go.
And Ridge. Oh, and Edge. I mean, who names their child Edge, for goodness sake? Anybody out there who've got a child named Edge? I'm sorry if I've just offended you.
Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Yes, let's move on. But you know what? As you were talking about it and the hairs and hair colour and things like that, we all do things to enhance what we look like, and whether it's plastic surgery or whether it's makeup or whether it's the colour of our hair or the tattoo that we put on, these are all things that we are doing because we are looking at the external rather than the internal. And we all do it. I do it. Here I was talking about, we must look from the inside. But, when my hair gets a little bit grey, I look at my hairdresser and I go, could you just kind of wipe it out? Just wipe my grey hair out?
Because I'm starting. Okay, love. That one's okay.
It is? That's okay.
And makeup. We all put makeup on. We all make sure our hair looks good. We put nice dresses on. This is all part of I guess, a respect in a way. So maybe doing these other things is a respect for who we are as human beings. It's just when we go beyond the point of no return that I think the respect for our body has changed. This is a hard one. This, to me, the more we go through this, the more I'm going, well, is it a respect? But then when we go too far, is that not respect? When does that point go away? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, when does it go from self-care to
Indulgence.
Harm.
and harm? Yeah.
Self-harm. Because, it is
But
self-harm.
who says it's self-harm? I mean, that person that's had the 20 operations to look like Barbie, I mean...
And they don't think it's self-harm. They think
No.
it's magic. That's so true, Kimmy. They think it's magic.
Yeah. So here's an article I was sent just recently, which I think you'll both really appreciate, which is back to the men, because I just kind of figure that, we think they get off lightly, but they're just as into this. The headline which got my attention was 6 plastic surgeries for men that prove humanity is doomed. So the first one was that moustache one, by the way. The second one, do you want to hear the others?
I'm interested.
The second one was chest hair implant surgery.
Oh, wow.
And the way he's written this is so divine. There is hope for those hairless men who have been cursed with the pink bird chest of Edward Norton rather than the I can't even read that word, pictorial name of Alec Baldwin. They go on. Anyway, the next one, and there's pictures. I'll have to put this link up as well. It's quite brilliant. The next one that you'll be absolutely fascinated by is, and I had never even known this was a surgery, by the way, but voice deepening surgery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So for some men that they have this high-pitched, high-squealed voice, that they can actually get this surgery, which is it's called fat injection thyroplasty, and it's meant for men with either weak, high-pitched voices that annoy the shit out of everyone, is what he's got written here.
Oh, my God, how hilarious.
Anyway, if they want the withered, raspy voices that fill everyone in earshot with regret, this is what they need. And apparently that is quite popular over in the States. Are you ready for the next one? Scrotum reduction.
Oh.
So apparently...
oh, goodness.
You have to read this article. It's hilarious. But he talks about the fact that the deflated bat wings sagging below your baby injector are sure to be an instant turn-off with your confidence when you suddenly stand up and it's hanging awkwardly. So anyway, that's the next surgery, which I think is quite hilarious. And are you ready for the next one?
Oh, no.
So the next one's quite an interesting one, and you've probably even seen or heard this one, but it's called abdominal etching. So they actually get like the abs. The surgery is like creating a suction six-pack, but they're actually just having pinchable body fat, like it's squeezed and sculpted into such a way that it looks like it's a six-pack. So there you go. There's that one. And you're ready for the final one. I just love this article. Pec and calf implants, which we have heard of.
Yeah.
But it's probably up there, I'd say, with the butt implant. And it probably could go. I mean, imagine having a calf implant that slipped. You'd have cankles.
Oh, that wouldn't be pleasant.
Is it really? I mean, no wonder he says that proves that humanity is doomed. Like you say, like this is the side that you're talking, Cyndi, where maybe we're just going a little bit too far, where we're not happy with ourselves. I'll tell you another common one, though, is eyelid lifts, which is quite a common one. And I had a girlfriend in her 40s at the time have it. And I remember saying to her, why would you do that? Now I'm approaching my 50s and I'm thinking, oh, actually, I can see why people have it. But would I do it? I don't know. I don't know. And I'm not in that position yet, obviously, where it's that much of a desire to have it. But when I speak to men and women that have had plastic surgery of some sort, when I feel really, and this is my own maybe judgment coming into it, where I feel really comfortable with it, is when they're so happy and they look, as fantastic as they'd want to feel. I think the fine line we're treading on here, guys, is that sense of self and love. And I really believe the point you brought up before, Cyndi, about, you know, with us colouring our hair or putting on makeup or getting dressed nicely, you know, if I feel good, I look good. If I look good, I feel good. For some of us, it's the look good that makes us feel good. For some of us, it's the feel good that makes us look good. So
Yes.
I think it's kind of like that thing of what's your choice and owning it. So once you've done what you choose to do, or however it is that you dress it up, from that small doing a mask on a weekend right through to colouring your hair, right through to a breast implant, right through to having a nose job, I kind of think in that spectrum it's really personal. I tell you one thing that disturbed me intensely, and again, this might be a judgment, but I'd love both your opinion on this, is when I noticed a report came out a couple of years ago on mothers buying their daughters graduation presents of breast implants. That kind of disturbed me, that it was kind of a fad that all these mums were getting their daughters, their 17, 18-year-old daughters, breast implants. Now, I don't know about you, but the amount of 17-year-old breasts that I've seen are breasts that most of us would dream of having. So even if they're small, and I get some of them that are extra large, that reductions are important, and I get that for those that are really, really small, maybe an enhancement might be nice. But I would suggest for most women that maybe if you do that after you've had babies, maybe, or really questioning, like we've always said on many of our podcasts, is it's really do your research, check out the surgeon. I mean, there's holidays you can get to Thailand to have these that include the surgery. Some people would question whether they want to do that or not. I don't know. But the reality is I come back to what my beautiful doctor friend in Auckland said, and there's two reasons for getting surgery. One is it feasible and possible? And two, is it psychotherapy or plastic surgery that you're really after?
All right. Well, I'm going to throw a spanner in the works on that one. I have one more that I think we should discuss. And I swim with a bunch of medical doctors, and one of them she's finished her intern year, but she wants to do her master's, and she's been given a research project to do, and it's on labium surgery and the amount of cosmetic surgery that is now happening with young women on changing the size of their labiums. There's quiet there, girls. I'm very serious.
Kim?
Well, let me say this.
This is a huge thing at the moment, is young girls getting labium surgery because of it's a male thing. Yes, go Kim.
Hang on, why? Hang on, I don't understand why. What's the reason?
Here's the why. The why is because there is so much out there now on being hairless, and like it's very common for young men and women to want to have full Brazilians and to have no hair. No hair is not the trend at the moment. Which is why it's interesting that surgery to get chest hair and moustache hair, but there's a real thing around not having hair. Now, when we don't have hair, it also means that we now see things a lot more exposed. And the access to light porn, or even beautiful women and men being shown on the internet in ways that is accessible, is that everything's neat and tidy and tucked. So there is a real want for people to have that similar look. It's just like us looking at magazine pictures and wishing we looked like that, even though they've been photoshopped to obliterate, but it's kind of scary. But there is some women out there, and I spoke to my beautiful Dr. Michelle about this, and there are some women who do genetically have labias that are protruding to the point where they cause friction and problems with chafing and all sorts of things. So again, Cyndi, maybe there is the fine line here of the beauty and the so-called the desire to look tucked and preened and clean and hairless and whatever that whole look is, as well as there is the people that surgically, probably medically, do need support to have those trimmed. And I don't know why genetics would be making them longer, though. I'm not sure on that one.
Making them longer?
Yeah.
Stick out more and
quite big. I had a girlfriend who
no way.
This is 30 years ago, she had she gave birth to her first child, and she was laying on her back, and instead of tearing towards the anus, she tore towards the clitoris. And her husband, I'll never forget her husband saying, "I just saw my future and flesh fly." He said that there was flesh flying everywhere. And after her third child, she had her labiums fixed, because when the surgeon sewed her up again, there was one labium missing and one there, and she had a lot of pain with sex. And, so I know that there are needs and reasons for labium surgery. But when young girls are getting it done because their boys are saying, that needs to be neater, we don't like it that big, we want it smaller, we want it neater and tidier. That's when I think these girls are, and it may be because they want it done too. But the reality is there's a labium there for a reason. It's not, it shouldn't be tucked away. Anyway, I just thought I'd bring that one up too.
Or made bigger. I don't understand why you get an implant there.
I don't know if they do implants. I have no idea.
Well, sweetheart, why do people pierce the end of their phalanges? I mean, seriously, like, the Prince Alberts and all that. Well, there's all these different... We're going into a whole another topic here, but how do people pierce things and put things in places that... I mean, is that enhancement? Apparently it is.
Oh, that's insanity, really, I think.
Well, we don't know, Kaz. We haven't been there.
True.
So maybe we can't judge.
Let us change the subject.
Well, then there's tattooing. We didn't even talk about tattooing. Because my sister-in-law has had her nipple tattooed on her breast because she had plastic surgery and breast cancer, and she had to have that done. So that
makes sense. I can understand having that done. A girlfriend of mine had breast cancer and she got her nipples tattooed as well. I think that makes a lot of sense. But, those people who just get tattoos of, like, New Zealand ferns and things, I don't know. I mean, really, let's talk about those people.
and when those people have those, it was at a 40th, and it was something that someone had decided to do, and no one sees it. Actually, have you seen it, Kaz? I mean,
yes,
seriously,
love, you have shown me your bum. Just saying, on a number of occasions. In fact, you can't show me enough, and I've wanted to question you on that.
That is to remind me of my heritage and where I'm from. Because
were you going to forget that?
And she looks at her butt every day?
Yeah.
I always walk backwards into a room. It's the safest bet.
Oh, wow. This has just been amazing. We started with plastic surgery, but I actually think it's really brought up some amazing things. And there'll be things where, we'll mention an operation and people won't have thought that this is what's happening out there. And when you think there's a research project happening out there about labium surgery amongst young people, then you know that it's becoming a trend. And we have to ask, why is it becoming a trend? And when I was in my 30s, it was the trend to have your breasts done as far as my friends went. So they'd had their babies and they did that. And and now it's getting our grey hair coloured.
Yeah.
Oh, no, honey, that one's always been around, and that one's fine. Seriously. Seriously, that one's fine.
But I do think we need to be very clear for our listeners too that we're not, we're laughing and having a good old joke about it, but we're not laughing and having a joke about people who have had to have surgery or alterations or modifications through accident or injury, as you said earlier. No. We're certainly not talking about that. But what we are talking about is those that are doing it because they don't like the way that they look. Well, not even that really, is it? I mean, if you don't like the way that you look, do you have a right to change it?
Well, it's your body.
Like what we said, it comes back to you doing your research. If you feel good about what you've done, and even back to that friend of my mum's who had the facelift, and, she felt good for doing it. And that's what matters ultimately in the end of the day. And I will go one thing on and saying, that what we're talking before about, we put makeup on and we colour our hair and we might use skincare and things like that. I think the philosophy I have for me personally, and this is no right or wrong, but for me, I try and go as natural as possible with it. So, as chemical free as possible. And when it comes to hair colouring, my beautiful hairdresser knows that I don't like chemicals touching my scalp, and she's very good at making sure that the colours she uses with me are as chemical free. In other words, the best ones we can get at the moment are ammonia free. I love doing my mother-in-law's hair, and I've hennaed her hair at times, and there's just a lovely ritual of even putting the henna on someone that you care about. And there's some beautiful ways that you can create rituals around self-care and self-love by doing these things, as opposed to doing it because you want to impress someone else, or that someone's told you that you don't look good, or like, Cyndi, as we said before, when we go through stressful times, or you, Carren, when we go through these things and we do age. There is absolutely no doubt that stress can make us age. But let me say this, that it's through taking care of ourselves that we actually can reverse the signs of aging just as much as we can age prematurely. So let's, I'll give you one example. I was seeing a plastic surgeon in Auckland at the time. Do you want to hear here's my, no, it was really, I had a vein in the back of my knee that was really, it was giving me jip. So I went in, and while I was waiting in the surgery to have this surgeon look at the vein, this lady was sitting there, and she was not 30. And the reason I know she wasn't 30 is because I asked her, I said, "Oh, what are you in for?" It was kind of like little waiting room talk we were having. And she said, "Oh, I've come for my quarterly Botox." I think it was quarterly. She was having it every 3 months. And I looked at her and I went, "Oh, wow. It obviously works. How old are you?" Because I thought she must have been in her 40s to be in there having Botox. And she was 27. And I remember looking at her and I said, "You're 27 and having Botox?" And she goes, "Oh, yeah, look, I just love it. It's my self-care," was her words. "It's my little self-care." And I went, do you mind me asking how much it costs you? Now, I don't know if this is right, but she at the time said it was $700 to have this treatment. Now, at the same time, I was very closely working in travel and alongside a friend, well, my sister actually, who worked in travel, and another friend who worked in travel, that for $5.99 you could have 6 nights in Fiji, plus your flights were included. And I kind of looked at her and I thought, surely 7 days in a tropical island would give you the same feeling that at 27 years of age that Botox would. But she, for some reason, now I don't know if it was a trend or a fad or whatever, but at 27 years of age, and that kind of freaked me out a little bit. So I don't know, guys, whether this is answering people's questions around it or not, but if nothing else, along with a little bit of humour, I think if we're going to do things, for me personally, it's about doing it as naturally as possible. I know that by doing my masks on a weekend makes my skin feel a little bit better, and I feel better for taking the time to do it. I know sometimes when I've got my little butter, it's called butter nail polish, just when I paint even a clear nail polish on my nails, I feel a little bit better by just by doing that. Or when I've had a pedicure or a manicure and I've just had someone take scrub the skin and just, I don't know, it makes me feel good about myself. So I think sometimes those little rituals, and I like to think of them as self-care rituals, are what works for me. So maybe the point of this whole podcast is just to maybe question what it is that you're doing and how you're doing it. Where's Keza gone?
Have we lost her?
I don't know. But I'm loving the fact that you and I are still here. Shall we carry on?
No, I'm definitely here.
You've stunned her again. It's not often we stump that girl, but I think my little labium stumped her.
It did a little bit.
I thought you were about to say your labium was doing something. I was about to say, hang on a minute, hang on.
No, it took me a while to go. I had to think to myself, what's that?
Yes, you have 2. Okay.
Oh, must we speak of it?
Okay, we won't. We won't speak.
Oh, good griefliness. Heavens alive. Okay, so hopefully all of you guys have loved the show as much as we've loved doing the show today. I think it's been a spot of fun, actually. Yeah. And I'm sitting here just scrolling through picture after picture of plastic surgery on the internet. Are you?
Me too. I'm like, I just went, I've got, like, it's hilarious, the pictures that I've seen. It's not funny. It's actually disturbing. And if our listeners have the internet with them right now and you're not in your car and you get home, just go to images of plastic surgery. And usually I think you have to go to the botched one. Is that the one you were looking at? And it's quite disturbing in one way, and in another way you just your mind's blown. But I also looked up six packs, and I found these two guys with six packs, and they're really big guys with big tummies, and they're on cyclone wire fence.
Oh yeah. And they push their big bellies through the cyclone wire fence. Looks like a six-pack.
Yeah, so instead of having plastic surgery, just have a cyclone wire fence.
That's hysterical.
Yeah, anyway.
Well, a fringe is always good Botox. A fringe is always excellent Botox to cover all sins on a forehead. So there you go. There's another option, a cheaper one maybe.
True that. Go with that. Oh,
my son did say to me one day a couple of years ago that, Mummy, how come you haven't got dimples? And I went, oh, darling, I think I've got dimples. He goes, no, Mummy, your dimples have just stretched.
Oh, he didn't.
You know what? And I'm grateful, and I'll finish with this. My grandmother always said, Kim, the worst thing about getting old? I said, what's that, Grandma? She said, not getting old.
Yes.
So let's just remember the privilege it is to get these wrinkles and crinkles and sagginess and all of that. Let's never forget the privilege of what that means.
And my dad says the same in a little different way. He says, old age is a privilege denied to many.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what a wonderful podcast. What a beautiful way to finish. Oh. Well, for everybody that's listening to the show, go to our Facebook page at allthews.facebook.com/up-for-a-chat and post your comments and your questions there. Let us know about your own experiences. Have you had Botox? Please don't leave me out here on my own. Or have you had...
And it really was Kaz's butt, I'm just saying.
Maybe. That explains everything, actually. You can also post your comments at allthews.thewellnesscouch.com/up-for-a-chat. So make sure that you tune in again this time next week and join us here on Up for a Chat and become part of the ripple effect that's changing the world. We're going to see you on the ride. Bye for now.
This has been a production of TheWellnessCouch.com. Check us out on Facebook and join in the conversation on Facebook.com/TheWellnessCouch. Subscribe to each show on iTunes and check us out on Twitter. The Wellness Couch, streaming wellness into your lives. Whilst the Wellness Couch presenter endeavor to provide accurate and helpful information to their listeners, these podcasts cannot take into account individual circumstances and are not intended to be a substitute for health and medical advice from a qualified health professional. You should always seek the advice of a qualified health professional before acting on any of the information provided by any of the Wellness Couch podcasts.